Hello, today we are going to talk about your first discussion forum post, both your original contribution and your peer response or your peer reply. Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty, here's an overview of what we're going to be doing. We're going to practice with identifying the salient features of an argument. Now remember, an argument is a set of statements, one of which is supported by the other or others. Another way to put things is, an argument is a set of statements that imply another statement. Still another way to put things is as follows. An argument is a set of statements, one of which is inferred from the other or others. So, the premises are those statements that serve as support or evidence or imply the conclusion. The conclusion is what is inferred from the premises. Now, when I talk about or make reference to the salient features of the argument, and then I talk about premises and conclusion, what I'm talking specifically in this case about is consolidating the features of the argument in such a way that you can present that reasoning in standard form. Now recall that standard form involves enumerating or listing premises one on top of the other with the conclusion at the bottom. So that instead of a prose form argument, the way that you'll see our passages are written, you are going to present the most essential features, the condensed and reformulated features of the argument in a few premises listed one on top of the other, followed by the conclusion. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the passages from which you are going to choose and how I have offered you a sample to help guide you in this first discussion forum assignment. Okay, so here we are in discussion forum 1. You'll notice that I provide to you two short passages, each of which is an argument, and your job is going to be to extract the premises and conclusion of one of those. What I'm also asking you to do is to present the premises and conclusion in what's known as standard form. One way to represent standard form is as you see here, where you lay out one on top of the other, premise 1, premise 2, and so forth, and then you draw a line separating the last premise from the conclusion. So what you're going to want to do is choose one of these two passages, and then you'll want to lay out, most likely in the original wording, the premises, and then you'll want to reformulate either the no or the yes, depending on which you chose. In other words, what is no in a grammatical sentence? More specifically, what is the no or the yes in terms of a statement? We know that arguments are constituted by statements, and statements are sentences that have a truth value, which is to say, a statement is a sentence that's true or false. So regardless of what position you take on the matter of women being allowed in battle, it's going to be the case that that position is expressed in statement form. So once you've determined which are the premises and once you've determined how you will formulate the conclusion, then go back in and see if you can tidy up and reformulate in your own words those premises so that you end up with as economically presented argument as possible, right? So that's where we get to the eliminate any unnecessary verbiage. So the sample that I've offered you is from a passage that's a bit longer than either one of the two that I ask you to deal with. And the idea is that when you see what I've done with that passage by way of what I take to be the essential elements of the reasoning, you can see that the idea is to provide an encapsulation of the argument so that you get the most significant, pertinent, salient features, and that it's easy to get the inference because there's not a whole lot to look at, right? Here's the standard form for the representation and condensation of the Paley argument that I worked. Now, you don't have to have just 2 premises and a conclusion. You might get 3 premises or 4, but this is the basic idea. Now, once you are done and you have posted your original contribution, you'll be able to see your classmates' contributions, and your reply instructions involve choosing a classmate's post that addressed a prompt different from the one that you chose. That shouldn't be an issue. If it is an issue, then in other words, if nobody in the whole class has chosen a prompt different from yours, then follow the instructions, but you'll have to just work with another version of the same argument that you chose.